YouTube, are you ready for me? Just gives you a couple of seconds before you get yourself together, YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Here we go. I think we're going to be live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and hey, happy Sunday to you one and all. I have to say, first of all, thank you to those people who have been loyal and supported the channel, and those new supporters. Really appreciate you all. As you may or may not know, I did a show Saturday morning. Saturday morning. No, Friday night, Saturday morning. It was Broner versus Theophane. I only came on to say like 15-20 minutes to do a show, not to say very much, and to my shock, we had 60 viewers in the room at the time. I was like, wow. So I didn't think many people would be in for Broner Theophane. I thought it was just, you know, one of those fights. And you know, we've got now 5,000 views from that last show, and it's still growing, it's still going viral. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. It's very encouraging at these times. Our interview with Tyson Fury is our most viewed interview now virally. We're on 30,000+ views with 1,000 people currently on the channel at the moment watching these shows. So thank you to that as well. We really appreciate it. It's really good to get that. It's encouraging when sometimes the comments on YouTube are maybe not so encouraging and would make certain people want to quit doing any interviews, any shows, any videos, anything. Everybody, well, a lot of people, the people that comment on YouTube seem to be able to do better, seem to always be good at giving good advice or great advice or constructive criticism. But then when you go to see what they've done, they've never constructed anything themselves. So I don't pay much mind to that. Also, people on YouTube with names that you know damn well are not their names are leaving comments, and they don't even want to give their real name on YouTube. So that says it all. So alas, I digress, and we move on. At this minute in time, my thoughts go immediately to Nick Blackwell. I heard that he's recovering, he's doing well. I don't know how true those sources are, but my prayers are for Nick Blackwell, and I hope for him to have a speedy recovery. And even if stories are that he doesn't box again, at least he makes a full recovery and can have the healthy lifestyle that he can share with his family and, you know, his friends and those who are closest to him. And it's good to see that people in the boxing community are responding to that situation. So prayers for Nick Blackwell as we go on. Okay, so let's see. We've got some people in the room, probably lots to talk about. Terence Trump's in the room. Gazzo, good evening. Tashi, good evening. Alex Woodies, hello, how are you doing? Michael Redmond, good to see you. Michael says, why not tweet me the link, mate? I got a YouTube notification about this show. It was really a slung together thing. My apologies there, Michael. I did send a tweet out. I just think that people get the tweets, but if that's not the case, let me know. Yes, Guna, how are we doing? How are we doing, C? Hope you're well. So my apologies, Michael. Don't take it as any personal offense there. It's just the case. I knew there was a show that needed to be done. I got it out there. I didn't do this time too much of the promoting of it as I normally do. So yeah, hope you're well. Don't take it personally. You know, I'll try and sort something out about that in the future. Maybe give myself more time to put it together. John Smith, good. What's good? You've missed nothing. I've just spent a couple of minutes just having a mini rant about people telling me how I could do everything better. Yeah, you know, the funny thing is boxing, you have mini setbacks. People grumble, complain, or feel they can do something better, whatever. Drama. I don't do drama. I'm quite straight down the road type of guy. You come to me, you ask me for advice, I'll help you where I can. I'll always try and help you. People always come for different motives, but you know what? What I will say is that I will tell you this much. Haters fuel me to do even more, and it seems every time I get a little bit of hate on the channel or get people acting kind of weird or strange or silly, I seem to get blessed by it afterwards. And you know, I'm just blessed at this minute in time. Good evening to Gadget Man Chris. How good would Callum Smith to Gale be in the future? Definitely going to talk about that tonight. I'm just letting people kind of get into the room. Alex Woody says, hi Ingram, I'm a new subscriber and I love your channel and shows. Do you think AB will fight again? We'll get into AB. I think I spoke about him before. We'll talk about him briefly, probably at the end of this. So I've got to do some catching up and then I'll address AB. Yeah. Also to say that in terms of our social media, Twitter page, those who may be on it already, you know, we are trying our best to widen our scope and get more people in, and just trying to do the best that we can to get even more people in the room. Boxing enthusiast, the Phantom's in the room. Good to see you. It was hilarious when we was talking about Davies' latest poem coming from a website. LOL. Yes, it was hilarious. Bashir is fantastic for that. Great interview with Bashir the other day. Indeed, Bashir. Do you always monitor the haters in the comment section, Ingram, or do you read a lot of the comments? I try to read as much comments as possible because I'm always looking for ways to improve the channel. One of those we can improve the channel now is to get another camera. I've had it. I'm not lying. I had one of the best camera in the business. Well, in terms of YouTube, they said it was this camera here I had, and it was the Microsoft one. And then suddenly just decided not to work anymore after paying, what, £99 for £100. It meant to be one of the best, the Logitech. And then it just kind of just failed on me. So I'm going to buy a new camera, quite kind of sharpish, and make some adjustments to the channel anyway. So my apologies if the camera and the picture isn't that great tonight. But anyway, I digress. Let's get straight into things. People are talking about Callum Smith. People are talking about, you know, a lot of things. Let's get into things. First of all, top of the show, I was on Twitter actually, and I said I'm not watching the Matchroom show because I kind of know who's going to win the fight before they fight. I thought that Scotty Cardell was going to get his ass whooped again, and it seemed to me that he did get his ass whooped again, but the judges went in favour of Cardell, even though Dodds won the fight. So a lot of people are saying, and for so many people to say it over Twitter who are not connected to Dodds, then you know, what can I tell you? I didn't watch the fight. I had no interest in watching the fight. But, you know, you can tell Cardell's a herd, man. They want to boost his, you know, but you can't take you can't fight. You can't fight. And if you've got no defense, you've got no defense. Scotty Cardell is very basic, doesn't move his head, lacks defense. And I thought Dodds won the first fight. And if he probably won the second fight. I didn't watch it and really didn't give a damn about it anyway, so I didn't watch it. As for Callum Smith, we'll get straight into Callum Smith. Okay. This is not hating. This is just stating some pure facts here. Callum Smith is big for the weight. He's tall, got some good hands in him. Let's get something straight. He's got some good hands, good body puncher, tucks up nicely, and he can punch. And when he gets you hurt, he throws a load of punches on you and can get you out of there. I like it. I like it. I like what I see of Callum Smith. But world class, come on. Beat Rocky Field in his last fight. That was nice. Liked it. Impressed. But then you watch Rocky Fielding against Rebrasse, and you see Rebrasse beating Rocky Fielding up and dropping him. Okay. Some people say Rebrasse could have won the fight. So then Fielding is average at best. That was his best win, Callum Smith. And now we're talking from Callum Smith beating Rocky Fielding to Callum Smith beating James DeGale and Badou Jack and the rest of the super middleweight division. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on a second. Okay. I don't know how good Callum Smith is. I know he's a talented kid. I know he's a very talented fighter. Don't know what his durability is like against a real puncher. I don't mean Rocky Fielding. I don't know what he's like when somebody starts going to his body. I don't know what he's like when somebody can take his best shot and give it back. For my money, he doesn't beat Andre Dirrell. Don't beat Andre Dirrell, because Andre Dirrell's got hands, he can punch, and he can move. He don't beat Andre Dirrell. Not yet. And he doesn't beat James DeGale. Not yet. See, he looks good at this minute, at this level. At this level, he looks good. But I don't know how good Callum Smith is when he's moved up a level. He's good at this level. You know, there's some guys that when at a certain level, they're good. They look phenomenal. But then when we step them up, I want to see him step up, fight someone in the top 10, you know, someone, you know, like I'll fight Arthur Abraham. Let's see how you do it. I'd match him with Arthur Abraham tomorrow. Let's see you do it, Arthur Abraham. Let's see what we do with Arthur Abraham. Or the guy that, what's his name for? The super middleweight's gone to light heavyweight under Don Charles. Frank Buglioni. Go and fight that guy. See how you do against him. He's a champion. He don't look that great. Fight him. Fight Abraham, who looks on the slide. They're two fights I like to see. Abraham, we know he can tuck up well. We know Abraham's got good hands in him. We know Abraham takes a good shot. Never been knocked out. Good fight. I ain't so sure about Callum Smith's chin and his durability. That's me. I saw him against Rabras get slightly stunned there. And then this guy fought Humadi. And yeah, oh, James DeGale struggled against him. Well, James DeGale, I know, was injured for a while. And then he then, after the injury, we've seen he's put on some back-to-back really good performances. I don't think Callum Smith beats Lucien Bute. But, hey, you know, we'll keep it where it is at the moment. Okay, I know people are talking about Wilder. We'll touch Wilder in a minute and the Duhaphas fight. Just stick with Callum Smith at the moment, people. So let's see who's talking about Callum Smith. Right. Phantom says, I think Callum Smith beats Groves. Yeah, but if he beats Groves, what does that mean? I don't rate George Groves, but okay. Gaz, I think Callum Smith looks good, but he's beat nobody yet. Agreed. Too soon to judge how good he is, but Hearn's hype train is rolling already. Yeah. Lovely how he's #1 contender at WBC, and he's never fought anyone in the top 10. Anyway, I digress. It failed after how long? The camera you're talking about? I think the camera had a good 1.5 years run. Mike Ruby says, picture spot on. It's okay. That's Wilder. We're talking about Duhaphas. We'll come back to it in a minute. Anybody else talk? Michael Redmond, Callum going to heavyweight. Yeah, I remember the stories about Nathan Cleverly moving up to heavyweight. Well, we saw he got to cruiserweight and didn't look very good there. Let's just see Callum Smith fight someone decent, a name that we can say, okay. And if he beats Groves, so what? If he beats Martin Murray, so what? What? Oh, Martin Murray did really well against these world title challenges. Yeah, he did. A middleweight, super middleweight, walking punching bag. Just being honest. Michael Rubin says Smith basically untested. People need to calm down. They do. Callum Smith is a good, talented fighter, world class. Get out of here. Hearn says he'd take Groves for September. Boxing enthusiasts, listen. The way they're talking about Smith, they're talking about him as the next Gennady Golovkin. Fight and beat a few world champions, mate, or just beat former world champions, or beat somebody in the top 10, or somebody we can recognize at least, for heaven's sake. Boxing enthusiast says, LOL, Callum versus Fury. Yeah, great fight, wouldn't it? Callum Smith would knock him out in the first world, wouldn't he? The Phantom says, Callum versus Jack. Now, here's this, and I still got a bone to pick with a lot of people in the UK. I said that Groves would not beat Badou Jack. No way. No. And Badou Jack would drop Groves in the process. Now, Badou Jack seems to take a decent shot. I know he got blown out by that guy, whoever it was, who blew him out. But that guy could punch anyway. But he's come back. Listen, Jack is made of tougher things. He's got a good fight against Lucien Bute, who I'm not sure if he beats Lucien Bute. I like the way Lucian's looking at the moment. He looks revitalized. And I think Badou Jack needs to concentrate on Lucien Bute. If he can get past Lucien Bute, he got past Groves, but I expect him to get past. If he can get past Lucien Bute, I think Jack would make a real statement if he were to beat Lucien Bute more convincingly than DeGale did, because that was a hell of a fight, DeGale and Bute. So I think Bute can beat Jack. He's got the ability to beat Jack, no doubt about it. So my thoughts: Callum versus Jack. Don't know. Callum would be the best. Jack would be the best fight Callum's fought, but Jack definitely. Well, I don't know. Well, yeah, that's it. So let's leave it as that. Bute's got it on. So as for Callum Smith, I don't want to talk about Callum Smith versus Kovalev, Callum Smith versus. It's just ridiculous. Fight somebody at least in the top 10, and then we can talk about you as a top 10 fighter, not just a guy that's been, got a good relationship, whose promoter's got a good relationship with the WBC. Clearly, let's see you fight somebody tangible, and then take him from there. Gadget Man Chris says, how did Bute get another shot so quickly after loss to DeGale? Well, the loss to DeGale wasn't a bad loss. I think DeGale's the best super middleweight in the world. I've been saying it for a while. And he beat Brandon Gonzalez. He beat the guy that gave Sake Bika a nightmare. I can't remember his name. He stopped him early. He went out to America and beat Terrell. He then went to Canada and fought Bute. So he's got a nice resume there. So Boxing Enthusiast says, take nothing away from Frutcher's performance versus Bute. It's fantastic, but Bute froze in that fight. Bute froze in the fight, or did Bute have an injured foot? I understand in that fight that Bute had an injured foot coming in. That's what I heard. And I think it was either Spence Oliver or Johnny Nelson that mentioned it. So I don't know. Sugar Ray Brandon Rios is returning, LOL. Yes. You know what? A fight I'd like to see. Two fights I'd like to see. Brandon Rios versus Victor Ortiz, and Brandon Rios versus what's his name? Provodnikov. Especially Provodnikov. Those are two guys that don't know what defense is and catch punches like goalkeepers on the chin. So I like to see that fight. British fight fans get excited very quickly, and Sky Sports do you no favors. If you don't know anything about boxing, don't listen to Sky Sports punditry team. Please don't, because they themselves should know better, but they don't do better. If you're a complete casual listening to them, everybody that's on their channel, everyone that fights is like world class. Callum Smith beats Houdini, or whatever his name is, Houdini, whatever his name was. Was it Houdini? I disappearing act. He beats him up. To be fair, that guy came out in the first round and gave it a bit of a go. But I always call it mismatch room or hype room. But that's what it is. So I just want to see Callum Smith fight someone decent. Right? Don't give me he's world class, but he's fought nobody in the top 10. European, maybe. World, no. Don't get out of here with that. So let's move on. Let's see what people are saying in the room. Addy Woody said, Alan Woody says, is Rios free returning? Yes, Rios is back. Rios versus Berto. Can he even make 147? Says Ali Woodies. Arm punches, said John Smith. Michael Redmond, mismatch room, hype room. Mismatch room, hype room. Gazzo says, judging by the decision in the Cardell Dodd fight, you need a KO to get a decision against a matchroom fighter. Yes, it seems so. Can you take a second to discuss the Brandon Rios deal? I don't know what to discuss apart from somebody, an associate, somebody I know has sparred with Brandon Rios, and he took liberties with that person that he was sparring with. I don't know. Brandon Rios, who cares? like, who cares really? He talks a lot of crap. Just walking punch bag. I still would like to see him fight Kell Brook just for the sake of it. But no, I really don't care about Brandon Rios, to be honest. Really. Yeah. Brandon Rios, Scotty Cardell. I don't know, and I don't care. Really don't care. Sorry. He sounds like Homer Simpson too. You need to KO to get a draw. Brandon Rios is done, mate. He was always overrated just because he fought Pac-Man. Yeah, he was an overrated fighter. He just talked a lot of crap, but I still would like to see him fight Victor Ortiz. That's a fight I'd like to see because that actually is a real fight there. See Eddie smug grin as they were reading the Masha v Cardle scores. I called it as soon as I seen Eddie's grin. Well, what can I say? I wonder if Eddie will be grinning next week end when Martin comes over against Joshua. But that's another story, and we'll do a preview to that. In fact, I might do a special where I can get other people from the boxing community, trainers, fighters, to preview that on the channel. Might be something I can get to do. And Mosley is fighting for interim title, yes. And he's got Roberto Duran in his trainer. The more that goes on with Matchroom, the more I suspect Hearn is greasing his palms. Yeah, he might do. But I'm going to, yeah, we'll talk about that Anthony Joshua thing later on. Let's move on because we've got the Helenius thing to talk about and the, what other fight? Helenius and the Molina fight. Okay, let's go back up the room. Let's go back into the room and look at people talking about that. I think, right, there he goes. Good evening, Andre. He says, hello, Ingram. Duhaphas would be a nice step up fight for Hugh Fury, especially now he has the WBC heavyweight silver title, which means a title on the line and a good WBC ranking. Absolutely agree with you there. Wilder's resume got a huge boost from them 2 wins last night. Did. Right, Duhaphas is a tough gatekeeper. No surprise that Wilder wasn't able to drop him. Okay, so let's get into this. Let's go straight into Duhaphas versus Helenius. Now, Duhaphas Helenius, what can I tell you about this? I can tell you this much first and foremost. Dave Allen, I know you're going to have a go at me. You're going to start saying, Dave Allen, you got to fight. He's crap. Okay. We can talk about Dave Allen, Tekken, and Dave Allen was sparring with Robert Helenius, and he put Robert Helenius right up there with Tyson Fury, who he sparred with. After that performance from Robert Helenius against our friend Duhaphas, the Frenchman, I think Dave Allen might be thinking twice about what he said to me. Robert Helenius, I remember when Robert Helenius was first on the scene and he was knocking people out left, right, and center. This guy was like the heir to the Klitschko's. If you remember when people were talking about Helenius, let's go back. Let's not talk about now. Let's only talk about a year ago. Let's talk about when Helenius was going through, ripping through people, and then he met Derek Chisora. Before he fought Chisora, people say, like, Robert Helenius, yeah, he's going to mash up the Klitschko's. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. He's going to knock this person out. He's going to knock that one out. He's going to mash up this man. He's going to mash up that man. And then Chisora beats him. And then ever since that fight, and Helenius has just gone like that. He doesn't seem to know how to box, doesn't seem to know how to punch. And from what I was seeing on the clip there, he looked knackered. He looked absolutely knackered. And that punch that Duhaphas knocked Helenius out was a hell of a shot. It was a great shot. I can't even believe the way that Helenius was able to. He landed on fell on the canvas on his back like David. It was like doing an impression of David Price. Sorry, David, no disrespect. But he was like doing a carpet. His legs just went bang like that. Just landed whoop like that. And I was amazed that Helenius was able to get the strength to get back up, but he was gone. So Duhaphas, wow, what a performance. I was saying to people over Twitter, I ain't watching that fight because Helenius will wipe the floor with Duhaphas if he's got anything left. I felt like an idiot afterwards watching that. I went back. I said, I watched the fight back on a GIF or one of those minute clips that people love to show on Twitter. And you know, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't believe Helenius just falling over like that. You just see him keep falling over. I was like, is that really Helenius? No, that can't be Helenius. Is that really Helenius? No, it can't be. And you've seen Robert Helenius going bang, 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 and it finally had to admit, yes, Helenius got knocked out badly by Duhaphas. Listen, it's not that I didn't rate Duhaphas. If you go back and look at my preview to Duhaphas versus Wilder, I said Duhaphas is a dangerous man. Wilder did well against Duhaphas, you think about it now. And then Molina, I said if Adamek's got anything left against Molina, he cleans out Molina. What does he do? Molina goes out and lands a right hand. That's probably the best punch Molina's thrown in his whole career. And I want to make a point about the Molina knockout of Adamek. Molina's punch of Adamek is identical almost to the left, the jab, the left right that Lennox Lewis threw against Hasim Rahman. Go back and look at the way he kind of uses the left hand, kind of blinding, and the right hand comes through over it. And then watch how Lewis knocks at Hasim Rahman. Similar way. Boom, boom. Great combination. So that punch was an awesome punch to knock out Adamek. But Adamek is like, he's shot, go shot, finish, complete. I didn't know why Adamek was even fighting. What was he fighting for? Like, he was shot. So, you know, is what it is with Eric Molina. Either Eric Molina or Duhaphas would be good opponents for Hughie Fury. But last night I understand that Dillian White was on Twitter and my name was in a comment, I think it was with Andre, and I think Dillian White jumped in and says he wanted a bit of that. So I think Dillian White's talking about trying to get a fight with Duhaphas. Good fight for Dillian White. Very good fight because he gets him kind of right back up there if he used to beat Duhaphas. So, okay, let's see what people are saying in the room. I'll talk about the David Haye thing as well because people are definitely hyped about that as well. Helenius was seen as kind of the future heavyweight division at one point. Kind of sad to see how his career's ended. That's what the Phantom says. Is anyone saying something else? Let's see. We will talk about David Haye. The Phantom says also Helenius' injuries and promotional issues have ruined his career. Maybe it was those injuries. It probably was those injuries because that wasn't the Helenius I remembered. And then John Smith says Helenius was so overrated back in the day. Beat the corpse of a half-blind Brewster, corpse of fat Samuel Peter, and over the hill Saigo Lajkovic, whose peak was the Brewster fight. That's really brutal, John. It really is. And you know, it would have been interesting to see what you'd been saying. I'm not saying you didn't feel those things then, but it would have been interesting to see what you've been saying back then about Helenius. Because I thought Helenius was a damn good fighter. I did. I thought he had a good jab, good right. He had all, like, fundamentally good boxer. Do you know what I mean? And he could crack. And had a good chin as well. So I thought, could go places. But obviously not to be. John Smith says, Duhaphas got dropped by a cruiserweight, not Wilder, lost to Pianetta, same dude who got spotted around by over 100-year-old Shagayev, and Helenius was always an overrated guy who lost to Chisora. Woo! John Smith's on fire tonight. Boxing enthusiast says that was a green Duhaphas who lost to Pianetta. I believe it was 9 years ago or something. John Smith says Duhaphas is a solid gatekeeper though. And Michael Redman says Adamek more shot than the wall behind the firing squad. Gazzo says Duhaphas had Jerome Labana with him at the Wilder fight. If he's training with him, he must have pretty good punch resistance. Labana is a beast. We'll have to check out Labana. Even probably get an interview with him. Gary Letter, good evening. Larry Letter, sorry, I thought it was Gary. Larry Letter, good evening, or Lita. I think sometimes we can get too critical of the likes of Hearn. So many things go on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. Not always easy to make good matches for different reasons. Look how difficult it has been for Peter Feud to get decent matches, decent fights for Hughie. Yes, those things we're not privy to. Well, there's some things I'm privy to, but I can't reveal. But yes, I understand. I totally agree. If Joshua beats Martin, then Duhaphas is a good title defense. Yeah. Michael Redber says earn with Hearn. Ingram, could you get an interview with Dillian White? Never rated Helenius. Also back then, just didn't see it. People were just saying he would knock out Vitali. Well, I have to say, I was one of those guys who thought he would give Vladimir a good fight. I'll try a Dillian White. That's as much as I can say on that. Boxing Enthusiast says Shannon Briggs passed his brain scan. LOL. Yes. Phantom says Briggs is my hero. Whoever I feel let down, whoever I feel down, I can't go on. Okay. So let me start again. Briggs is my hero. Whenever I feel down, I can't go on. I hear the words, let's go champ, and I rise to the challenge, Team Briggs. Okay, that's fine. Can't knock that. He's very inspirational. And I think Briggs as an inspirational speaker in the future would be great. By the way, I'm drinking some milkshake. It was made beautifully by my wife. Homemade milkshake. The best. If I've got any milkshake on my lips, please let me know. I haven't got a mirror to see. But yeah, I'm enjoying this milkshake. Let's go, champ. Let's go up a bit. Let's go back to Shannon. David Haye against that geezer called the Cobra. Big fight, heyday. He's unbeaten. He's the Cobra. Now, when I spoke to James Ali Bashir, for those who don't know who James Ali Bashir is, he's the assistant trainer to Vladimir Klitschko and the trainer to world-class cruiserweight contender Alexander Usyk. And I told Bashir, I said to Bashir, have you seen David Haye's next opponent? What do you know about him? He says, I've been in boxing a long time. I've never heard of this Cobra. The only Cobra I know is Carl Froch. He says, I know I've got a lot of friends that do Cobra plumbing. Bashir also said, where does David Haye get this opponent from? Where did he get him from? Did he go to a website? Like a dial-up an opponent? A dial an opponent? Hashtag getmeawin.com. I mean, to be honest, David Haye should be ashamed of himself. He really should be ashamed of himself. There is no excuses whatsoever why David Haye is fighting the Cobra. Absolutely no excuses whatsoever. Demori, okay, that's your comeback. Cobra. Got milk. Thank you very much for that. Milkshake's damn good. Fresh strawberries and vanilla ice cream. Right. Did you see Dillian White's cat versus Cuthbert video? LOL. I think he's on Twitter and I haven't seen it. Brooks put a tweet out calling out Broner worth pay-per-view. Brooke can call out who the hell he wants, right? Very quickly on this, Hearn won't put the money together to get Brooke to fight anybody world class. Brooke has to leave Hearn and join Al Heyman to become a worldwide superstar welterweight boxer if he's got any sort of, you know, if he's going to go places. So that's the Kell Brook thing out of the way. David Haye's opponent. David Haye's opponent is undefeated and has a huge KO percentage. So the casual fans will love this fight. Yes, I'm glad you said. Do you know what? I think if you're thinking like David Haye is done with the hardcore boxing fans. David Haye has gone to the hardcore boxing fans. Basically, he said to you, you've seen I'm a con artist. But he said, casuals, get on board. Have a good night. Listen to some garage. Listen to some pop music. Listen to whatever you want to at the O2 Arena. Jump around and watch me fight some guy you've never heard of. And watch me knock him out in a couple of rounds. He's big. He's tall. You know what? Next fight could be against Anthony Joshua. Next fight could be against Tyson Fury. If I could do it against a giant, then I can do it against another giant. I mean, look, I'm showing I'm making progression. That's what David Haye will say to those people who are casuals. But to anybody who's got a sense, David Haye's full of it. Totally full of it. When David Haye looked straight down the camera in an interview and said, Mark Demore, no one's ever dominated him before. He's never been dominated. Wait, this is the same Mark Demore that got chinned around by a guy called Digger. Right. Okay, David, you lied to us. So David will probably walk out there, stand in front of this guy, bang, knock him over. David will say, David Haye's brilliant. He's fantastic. He's the best thing since. He is casual. That's what he is. David, the casual fan maker. Hey, that's what he is. The casual fan maker. That's what he is. I don't mind. I don't mind the casual fan maker. But you know why? Because at the end of his fights, I get casuals that come on my channel and they start giving abuse and I just push the block button and then, you know. But yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind casuals. Gazzo says, Hayes a con man, sells tickets for an event and then names a pudding nobody's ever heard of. Exactly. Boxing says, did he get dropped by Backtoff? I don't know, but I think he is. John Smith says, hey, we'll stop this guy in one round, probably. Alex Woody says, Hay has been done for a while now. He's just making money and having fun. He is. Mike Tyson, hello, Mike, says, Carlos Braithwaite, what a legend. Where did that name come from? The name sounds familiar, but where did that come from? Explain yourself, Mike Tyson. John Smith says, David is 7 with the WBC, 10 with the WBA, and 30 with the IBF. What the? Well, I just think that's David Haye. I think all these governing bodies know that David Haye brings money. David Haye, O2 Arena, sell out, crowds. Why not? The way Haye is chasing for a title shot is making him look so desperate. Well, he's just putting himself out there, isn't he? He's putting himself out there. Johnson says, Haye is self-promoted, so he can't get big name opponents. It's clear. He's just back for the money. He wants a big fight where he'll probably lose and get loads of money. John Smith, David Haye versus fake Pulev Cobra. Michael Redmond says, I call him Gadge, the Arnold fella. The Arnold fella. Yeah, Arnie. John Smith says, we might be seeing Stevan versus Duhaphas since Duhaphas won WB Silver. No, we're more likely to see Stevan versus the winner of Povetkin versus Wilder. That's what we're more likely to see. Hey, sell out, Arena, and himself. Twatty bollocks. Well, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Yeah. Right. Let's have a little bit of fun now, people in the room. This part of the show, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about. I'm putting myself in a firing line here. We're going to talk about an interview I did with Tyson Fury. Did 2 interviews with Tyson Fury. There's one that I actually, well, was official, and then there was that little bit of banter afterwards. I don't know how many of you have actually seen the 2 interviews. They've gone quite viral at the moment. But just if you didn't know, Tyson Fury is giving away T-shirts. He's got 632 T-shirts, he said in the interview. So if you want to get a T-shirt, I would suggest you get on Twitter, if you already are on Twitter, and just follow Tyson and then tell him that you want a T-shirt and said you saw, just say you saw the interview for your BaylorIC TV, and just do that, see if you can get a T-shirt. So yeah. Anthony Joshua versus Charles Martin. What's funny, Peace are calling you out on stuff. Yeah, I know. It was a bit of banter. I think those people who know the relationship between myself and the Furies will realize there's a bit of banter. But yeah, I don't know how many people would actually say to the heavyweight champion, hey, look, I think you're going to get beaten in this fight, and then, I think you're going to win this fight. Oh, I explained my reason. Peter said it was a bad call. Yeah, it probably was a bad call. But, my reasoning was Tyson looks vulnerable to the overhand right to shorter opponents. So what does he do against Chisora? Turns southpaw and takes the right hand away. So they obviously were aware of it. So, It was good crack, Michael. Definitely was good crack. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about if I think if Wilder beats Povetkin, WBC corruption will make him rematch Duhaphas instead of Stiverne, since Stiverne is more dangerous. No, John Smith, trust me. Stiverne will get his shot. Stiverne will be next in line. I believe so. Joshua was rather spiteful in the latest Telegraph article. Has he been psycho? Has he been psychically already rattled? I don't know. Let's talk about Joshua versus Martin. What I did for the career of David Price was look back to his amateur career, and that's the only thing we could do. We can't look at his pro career to tell us anything because he hasn't done anything much. We have to look at amateur career where people were actually throwing punches back at him and how he responded. And in particular, I want you to go back and look at the Olympic final he had against Cameronelli and how he was unable to get out of the way of the straight left hand. What are the keys to victory for Charles Martin versus Joshua? I'll tell you, I'm going through them. The keys to victory is this. Charles Martin just needs to be Charles Martin, honestly, because Joshua wasn't able to get out of the way of the left hand. And, you know, I think Charles Martin's going to get the better sparring than Anthony Joshua, because there's how many southpaw heavyweights do you know who punch as hard as Martin and move like Martin? I don't know how many. Now, he doesn't just throw a straight left hand. He throws a looping left hand as well. He throws although it's a left hand he throws where he gets his head out of the way and throws a left hand over the top. It's like a looping left hand. See, my concern is, I think, for both fighters, for Anthony Joshua, he has got to be careful coming forward. He really has got to be careful coming forward because he's fighting against a guy who's a counter puncher. He's going to have to set it up with a jab, I think. Really set his fight with the jab. Joshua's going to have to throw a better jab than he's thrown in his whole career so far. He's going to have to like the jab well, really get the jab going. And he's going to have to throw plenty of feints in this fight. He may have to counter the counter puncher for me. You know, he's got to, you know, he's going to make Martin think he's going to throw a punch, get Martin to throw it left, and then throw a right hand over the top or left hook. I really do think in this fight, Joshua's going to have to slow his rate down. I'm not come charging in. He can't come charging in against a counter puncher. Thing is, Martin is slow to start. But I get the feeling, Charles Martin is the business. I keep telling people I think he's the business. And I'm going with Charles Martin by KO. I don't think Joshua's ready for Charles Martin. I really don't. The left hand of Charles Martin. And now right hook as well. This guy can punch. He's physically strong. And he doesn't have any sort of, he doesn't seem to me like a guy who's intimidated. And he's not 40. Yeah, good point there. He's not 40 either. Joshua struggled against Dillian Whyte, who was out of shape. And he isn't a counter puncher at all. This guy is a counter puncher. How many? And you got to look at his amateur record. And my concerns about Anthony Joshua is he didn't even win the Olympics. He didn't win the Olympics. I said this to Tyson. He didn't win the Olympics. I mean, it's on paper he won the Olympics, but if those Olympics were anywhere else in any other part of the world, would he be Olympic champion today? I keep asking that question. You see, you can give somebody a title, but it doesn't mean they're champion. Audie Harrison, no matter where you were in the world, what stadium he was in, he'd have won it. Same with James Segel. These are guys who would have won it convincingly, without no shadow of doubt, Olympic champion. We can't say the same about AJ. And the fact that he got beat, I thought Cameronelli beat him. And I thought that the first round, he got beat by Sevon. Would be Olympic champion today. So when we say, oh, well, Anthony Joshua's got a glittering amateur career, well, he's been stopped a few times in the amateurs by guys who put it on him. He's been stopped by guys who actually say, you know what? Damn you, I'm going to hit you back. That's my concern. Has he changed? Has he grown? Has he learned to be able to handle being hit back? And if Charles Martin lands the left hand, I mean, you know, I think Charles will go hell for leather for him. On the flip side of Joshua, how big a puncher is he? You know, if he's the guy that everyone says he is, he's the beast that everyone says he is, then he should have no problems looking at Charles Martin. I don't see it that way. I think I think Charles Martin starts the favourite coming into this fight. But I'm going with Charles Martin. I'm going with Charles Martin this one. But I could be wrong because Tyson Fury said to me, I don't know anything about boxing. But to be honest, he agreed with me. So I don't know about that. We both don't know anything about boxing. But, you know, I remember saying to people, the reason why I thought Audley Harrison would beat David Price was because he was a southpaw and the left hand. Price had no way of dealing with the left hand. But Audley Harrison just didn't use his talents, didn't use his physique, didn't use his talents. Tony Thompson comes along, southpaw, little older, little wiser, uses his talents, beats David Price. So, got the start right, just got the wrong fighter. Like I say, now with this guy, Charles Martin, I don't think Joshua looks great against southpaws. He hasn't fought a southpaw in his career yet, I don't think, as a pro. So, I am going to go with, my logic is Charles Martin. Yeah. And I like the fact that Charles Martin's in the country and he's training and he's doing his work in you know, he's not coming over the last 5 minutes. He's over in the country in the UK now training, which I like that. I rang him on his phone and dial tone was UK, so that's good. The heavyweight champion of the world is in the UK at the moment. Well, the IBF champion at least. Mike Tyson says, I think Eric Hunter versus Selby is going to be an interesting fight this Saturday night. Yes, indeed. The Phantom says, if Joshua beats Martin, then Joshua will become the biggest star in heavyweight division and British boxing. That's a shame because we have the unified heavyweight champion of the world. John Smith says, Joshua versus Martin reminds me of Price versus Thompson. Price was 15-0 before he also got KO'd. Redmond says, AJ will be saying they should outlaw southpaws. Boxing Tuesday says, Martin isn't 40 either. Phantom says, Joshua losing will be bad for British boxing. A lot of Brits will be upset. Not my problem. Let's see what we've got here. Guna says, love your predictions, Ingram. I'm with you. John Smith says, Dillian White was beating AJ to the jab. That was quite alarming for me. Well, you said it, I didn't. Gazzo, if AJ wins, Hearn will protect that belt with his life. Not a chance he will let AJ fight anyone dangerous. Look at Brook's dodgy IBF mandatories. Yep, that's not good for Brook and his development as a fighter. He's going to have to start fighting better fighters. But I've got to say, his fight against Bizier, that was spectacular stuff. But Bizier fought the wrong fight. I thought Bizier would have done more. He didn't. So respect to Brook on that. I see Martin's face. He has the dog in him. He's going to smack AJ around. Very elusive, unorthodox, strange, unplannable. Yeah, that's what I think. I think he's the business. I think he's the real deal. I think he's a nasty piece of work. But you can talk bad, you can talk rough, you can, you know. But every time he was hitting Glasgow, he was hurting Glasgow. Listen, he was hurting Glasgow. Glasgow was not making him 12 rounds. Injury or no injury, he was not making him 12 rounds. Because every time Charles Martin was hitting him, he was hurting him. If AJ wins, Jojo Dan will move to heavyweight and Hearn will make first defense for IBF. No, not Jojo Dan. Callum Smith, remember? Callum Smith will move to heavyweight, innit? He's a #1 contender for the WBC, isn't he? Let him move up. I'm gonna go balls out the bath here. Charles Martin via first round KO. Wow. John Smith, AJ got stopped by a little short Romanian dude in the amateurs. Indeed. Got me in stitches seeing Tyson filling the role of ring card girl. Mass respect to big man. No air of arrogance about it. No, he's a good man. Good man, Tyson. Martin had Glasgow under control. He won both rounds before the injury. My opinion. I agree with you as well. Bro, there's like 2 fights of mine on YouTube. So what are you talking about? 2 fights of mine on YouTube. There's more than that. But it's what I'm talking about. What you see Martin do. Does he throw the left hand? How does he throw the left hand? He throws the left hand straight down the pipe. He throws a looping left hand. He throws a right cross. And he also is a counter puncher. You don't need 20 fights to see that. You also don't need to see 20 fights to see Anthony Joshua comes forward with his hands up and just tries to steamroll guys. How many fights do you need to see that? That's what I'm talking about, Daz. CPEFCA says Anthony Joshua will come for this, in my opinion. Okay, he might come for it. David Hay says Marty never loses sparring rounds. David Hay should keep away from any form of commentary. or any sort of predictions, because it seems every time David Haye says something, the other guy seems to win. So David Haye says, "Yeah, I think Joshua should go for the knockout." Who knows what's going to happen? I think David Haye predicted a few other fights. He predicted that Fury would get schooled by Klitschko. Fury schools Klitschko. We could go on. The only alarming thing about Martin is that he got a draw with a complete nobody. Yeah, that too. It's true. Pulev is ranked high, but in the IBF, Parker and Takam are fighting for the IBF. Eliminated, Joshua will have to defend against decent fighters. I agree there. Easy work. Martin got knocked down in 5th round by a guy who AJ took out in 2. Martin has never been knocked down, I think. I don't think he has been knocked down. I don't think he has been knocked down, Charles Martin. I'll have to go back and check that out. I don't think he has been knocked down. Hey, he's so desperate for Joshua to win that he can get that big payday. Oh, well. Pulev will KO Chisora. Quite possibly. He ended up coming back and winning in 10th, but was knocked down in the 5th. John Smith says Martin has never been knocked down. Carl Smith says, haha, Martin is shit. Yes, there is. There is footage of the Zamana Love fight. There is footage of it. I think it went 10 rounds. And he stopped him in the 10th. I would have to say this. Charles Martin's corner, I've got a lot of respect for his corner. Go back and listen. I keep telling people, go back and listen to his corner. He's got a very good corner. They're very astute corner. I think you need to go back and listen to his corner. His cornermen are very good, giving him very good instructions. Only 10th round, Ingram. Really? No, it's more than 10 rounds. I've seen the whole fight. I'm sure I've seen the whole fight. Sure, I've seen the whole fight. But I'll go back and check. Definitely somebody go check it out. But I'm sure I've seen more than 10th round. Martin had a short amateur career, though, didn't he? So early fight, still learning. Yeah, it's true. But then, as far as I know, Martin's never been down. I don't think he's been down either. But even more power to him that he has been down. If he has been down, he's got back up and he's won. So Martin is slow and moves in simple ways. Without that IBF, he's nothing. Well, if Joshua gets beat, Carl, by Martin, then what would you say about Joshua then? Joshua spark him easy. I don't know about that. Glasgow could get close to him, says Boxing Enthusiast. AJ, fan alert, fanboy alert. That is the fight he was supposedly knocked down. Was it a knockdown? Ingram, did you watch the Martin Love fight? He didn't get knocked down. I did. I don't know. I don't know if he did get knocked down. Can somebody Google it or Google the report of Martin versus Love? I don't know if he did get knocked down. I'm happy he went 10 rounds with Zamana Love. And you know why I'm happy? Because he did the 10 rounds. I'm glad he did the 10 rounds, you know, because he can do 10 rounds. We know he can do 10 rounds. Can Joshua do 10 rounds? And the other question, this lactic acid, we keep going back about the big muscles. He keeps getting bigger and bigger in every fight. Who has AJ beat? This is my point. I keep saying that, but I don't know. I think it's going to be, whatever happens, it's going to be a great fight, I think. If Russia loses, Sky Sports will be upset with Hearn. Well, yes, I think so. But let's remember, the Olympics are just around the corner. So, hey, Hearn, you can earn with Hearn after the Olympics. Because I'm sure he'll be out there scouting to see, sniffing around, see what talent is after the Olympics. That's what I'll say about that. Earn with Hearn. Hearn will get a new gold medalist. Well, if he's from somebody from the UK who fights in the Olympics, you can be damn well sure if he does win the Olympics, you know, it's because he's damn well deserved it. Boxing enthusiast Martin got the KO versus. He did get the KO versus Love. That also says he can knock you out from the first round to the 12th round or the 10th round. So he's got knockout power. Martin KO'd Love in the 10th. He played with him. He did. That's what it looked like to me. Right, boxing fans. We've talked a little about Hay. We've talked about a little bit Chisora. What else can we talk of? What else is there for me to talk about? I'm kind of thinking. Talked about the James Ali Bashir interview. It impressed me that he threw 100 punches in the 10th round. Oh, the return of Andre Ward. Got to talk about it, people. Listen. I've always rated Andre Ward, and I don't think because Andre Ward was out because of his contractual issues that he's not a good fighter. Take that aside. The man's come back. He fought Paul Smith. Okay. Edwin Rodriguez, Paul Smith, and now he's fought Barrera, who everyone was saying was a beast and he was knocking everybody out, and Barrera's the man, and blah 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 about Barrera. Ward beats him. It's like, oh, Barrera wasn't that good anyway. Well, make your minds up. Was Barrera really good? Or was he okay? Or is Andre Ward that damn good a fighter? Thought Ward looked good against Barrera. I think Ward's a very good fighter. But I'll say this, and I said this to James Ali Bashir about Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin. These are two guys that I think I've never seen them with a fighter on their chest, inside on them, dying hell for leather. Never seen it. I saw Gennady Golovkin fight Willie Monroe, and Monroe was able to catch him with the uppercuts. So I think he's vulnerable to uppercuts, Gennady Golovkin. I think a guy who can get on the inside of these guys and fight, all rugged inside fighters, them type of guys I think are going to give people like Gennady Golovkin and Kovalev the most problems. Ward is a nightmare for Gennady Golovkin, and I think he's a nightmare for Kovalev as well. Here's a guy who can box you. You know, he counter punch. He can slug with you. Ward can do it all. Kovalev, very big puncher. But as to my knowledge, and I was the guy who told everyone about Kovalev, and people laughed at me. You go back and look at my prediction of Kovalev versus Cleverly all the way back. I said this man Kovalev could go on to be an all-time puncher. Like, you know, there are punches in this world. You know, you punch and you fall over and you get up. You're okay. You fight on. And then you've got guys who you bang with one shot can knock you out. Kovalev is that kind of a puncher. Kovalev, you know, Julian Jackson. When Julian Jackson's here, boom, you go over. Kovalev's that kind of guy. But I want to see what Kovalev's like when he's put on the back foot and not giving him room and space to throw punches. And I think Ward's the kind of man that can do that. Ward's got that kind of versatility where he'll be able to hopefully catch Kovalev, catch his shots, get inside, get on his chest, and stay there. That's how he beats Kovalev. Can he do it? Yeah, I think he can. I think Ward's strong at the weight. Dropped Sullivan Barrera. I don't think Barrera had been dropped before. So I was really impressed by Ward. I wouldn't say fight Kovalev straight away. I'd like to see him fight. You know who I'd like to see Ward fight? I'd like to see him go fight Jürgen Bremer. A puncher, you know, and it's a fringe belt, but it still gets him in the picture. I think I'd like to see Ward fight Jürgen Bremer or Nathan Cleverly. Tall, rangy, hand speed, that sort of thing. So kind of get yourself a different style, a different look for Kovalev. It's not Kovalev, agreed. But if he's going to have one more fight, Bremer, Cleverly, Fonfara, those three, and then Kovalev. So my thoughts on that. Let's go up. But I would put Ward. I think Ward beats Kovalev personally. Gallagher knew Cardo was behind on the scorecard gift decision. How long before luck ran out? But he couldn't pull the same trigger with Quick Cuddy with Frampton. That was quite funny. Why Joe Gallagher got Trainer of the Year award is beyond me. Anyway, can I touch on Khan Canelo? Can Khan win? Look, history suggests, and I'm only going by fact, not making fiction up. History suggests that despite Khan moving up in weight, he still has chin problems. Khan at lightweight got dropped by Willie Lemond, got dropped or hurt by Marco Gomez. He got dropped by he got knocked out by Prescott at lightweight. So okay, he needed to he was weight drained, so he moved up. Then he moved up to light welterweight. You get chinned and knocked out by Garcia. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, maybe, yeah, okay, maybe, you know, put more weight on, he'll do better. So then he moves up. I fight better when I move up in weight. So hold on, he moves up a little bit more in weight. He fights Diaz. Remember when he got to get off the floor against Diaz? Okay, let's forget that. Let's move on. So now he moves up to, he's a fully fledged welterweight now. Didn't he get rocked by Chris Algieri in the first round? And I didn't know if Chris Algieri was a big puncher, but okay. So now he's going to go and fight at close to middleweight against Canelo. I saw Canelo chin James Kirkland, but then he couldn't stop Cotto. So I think Khan has no inside game, never has, and I think he can win the early rounds if he still has that speed. If he hasn't got that speed, if he doesn't retain the speed he had from welterweight upwards, and this thing about Khan's speed, very much an illusion because speed kills, right? Sugar Shea Mosley, Roy Jones Jr. That sort of speed kills. You know, hit you with shots and he's away. And you can't get hands on him. You can't nail him. And it goes for 12 rounds. He can do that. That's where you put exhibition on. And then people say, well, he did that against Devon Alexander. But Devon Alexander is one of the most laziest fighters I've known, right? But then speed and Marcus Maidana. Marcus Maidana, like I said, I think I did a 78 Sports TV, asked me the same question when I did a crossover and he interviewed me on his channel. Khan made Marcus Maidana look like Roberto Duran, okay? And where was the speed then? Khan's speed seems to go 5-6 rounds and then he slows down, hands come down by the sides, chin up in the air. And I just think if Khan's got speed, I think he can mess Canelo around for 4 or 5 rounds. But down the stretch, I think Canelo gets to him, catches him, nails him. Good night. I don't see Khan winning. Sorry, no way. Can I touch on Canelo Khan? I did do that. Alex Woodies. I'd love to see Khan. No, well, I don't think Khan can do it. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see, we've got people. Okay, let's go up here. Let's see what we've got here. Wow. People are. Copendo9 says, did you just seen a video of Tyson hitting Tyre with hammer? Didn't you laugh with Peter Fury at the American fighter chopping wood? No, I didn't see it. Sorry. Barrera is a solid light heavyweight in my opinion. Very big for a light heavy, solid amateur background, a B fighter. Thank you, John Smith. Canelo's inside game and speed and counter punching skills trouble Golovkin. I think Kovalev United decision award. Interesting, says John Smith. Alex Woodies. Yeah, I'm curious about your thoughts on Canelo GGG as well. We'll get into that. GGG will knock out Canelo but lose United decision to Ward. Campilio says Berbatov hits harder than Kovalev and Stevenson. That's scary. Billy Joe Saunders versus GGG. I definitely want to talk about that. I disagree. Ward needs to fight a style like Kovalev, not fight cleverly. What does that do to prep you for Sergey? LOL. Carl Smith, I think you're one of these guys that also believe that Dillian White should have fought Joshua when he did, when he had the injury. I think boxing, timing, something I've learned in boxing that, you know, Ali Bashir shared this with me. There's two ways you can cross a road. You can cross the road when there's loads of cars flashing past like that and taking your chances, or you can wait for a car to get past, judge the distance between you getting across the road and you not getting hit, and cross the road. Right? But boxing fans seem to confuse the rushing, and when you rush, you get crushed. Timing, important. And I think that after being out for so long, I think Ward is allowed to have Cleverly, former world champion, Fonfara beat Cleverly, and Bramer, reigning world champion. Regardless of what you think, reigning world champion. I think he's still unbeaten, and heavy puncher, light heavyweight. What's the problem with that? That's a world-class fighter. I'm not telling him to go and fight bums, then fight guys that have some credibility about them. So that's my thought on that. Let's see what's going on here. What we're going here. Copying out Michael Redmond. AJ has fought better southpaws than amateurs, so why would he be worried about Martin? And got beat Copendo 9-9 by better southpaws. Amateur pros completely different. Martin can punch as boxing enthusiast. Redmond says, go and look at those southpaw inverted commas wins. I said it as well. Copendo at Phantom Canelo has an inside game. I would say he does. Khan has never fought anyone not a welterweight. Win or loss, still didn't have the problems you seem to think. I don't know about that. But anyway, let's see we go. Great breakdown of Khan Canal. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Alex Woody. Plus, just because you lose, don't mean you have a problem with the southpaw. Right. Let's look about history. David Price for southpaws goes asked whooped by many southpaws. Didn't do well against southpaws. Fought as a pro. First southpaw he fought, he beat him, but that southpaw didn't even throw a punch. The second southpaw he fought, he got beat by, and then he fought the same southpaw again and got beat again. Tells me he can't fight southpaws. Okay, but hey, you know, we're all entitled to opinion. Michael Redburn, AJ's got problems from left side. Counter left hook from a heavy-handed southpaw is going to flatter him, mate. And if I'm right, wasn't it a left hook that caught Anthony Joshua when he was actually throwing punches? I could be wrong. Even if Ward beats Kovalev, a lot of fans will discredit the win. Ward gets a lot of hate. Yeah, he gets a lot of hate. He's an articulate young man, and he just says it as it is. You know, AJ wastes his time doing all these conditioning bodybuilding exercises, but not sweet science. I agree with you there, John Smith. And Ali Bashir, you know, he talks about this in the latest interview I did with him. So, hey, I mean, I think Martin should attack AJ to the body. Well, he was saying, he was laughing about it, Prince Charles Martin. He was talking about AJ and his body. Dillian slowed it down. Let's remember that left hook that got caught in the second round. He slowed right down once he got caught in the shot. And Dillian did catch him with left hook as well. So, Copendo 9, I don't know what you're watching. I don't know what the screen looks like. I don't know, you know, in terms of your perception of boxing. But he certainly didn't beat Sevon in the Olympics. And I don't know if he beat Cameronelli either. Have you got an interview with Martin Ingram in the works? I've been trying to listen. Myself and Charles have been talking back and forth. I've got his telephone number and I've been ringing and ringing. And I'm going to try and ring afterwards tonight. Oh, I have some breaking news to share with you boxing fans regarding Edward Chambers. Yes, he's back. April the 30th. Put it in your diaries. Eddie Chambers versus Gerald Washington. Good fight. Big fight. What do you think? Gerald Washington versus Eddie Chambers. He said he wanted a big fight. That fight puts him right in the heavyweight picture. To me, I think Gerald Washington's a good big man, good fighter, but still very amateurish. I think Eddie Chambers, this is his chance to shine. He needs to take the opportunity. Chambers or UD Washington. I think Washington. I think he beats Washington. Washington good. Hey, Washington's a good fighter. I think Brazil's a better fighter. Brazil is a guy that people are sleeping on. I like Brazil. I like Brazil for a number of reasons. I think Brazil's improving as a fighter as he's going on. He Chambers will win easy. Good step up though. Yep, agree. Good fight for Eddie. Agree. Chambers takes this. What was my thought? I think I talked about Lomachenko and Walters before. You've got a guy in Walters from the Caribbean who punches very well, hard puncher, but he's from the Caribbean. And I'm a Caribbean man. And I'll tell you that we're very relaxed and blasé. I spoke to Abel Sanchez about it. And he now is training Julius Jackson, the son of legendary Julian Jackson. And I think that Walters is a big puncher, is big at weight, but you've got a guy in Lomachenko that is a fantastic fighter, great amateur pedigree, looking really good as a pro, great footwork, good boxing ability, great boxing IQ. Do you really want to be mixing with that? I mean, Walters in this fight really has a puncher's chance, and that's it. If he can land on Lomachenko and he can hurt Lomachenko, game on. But if he can't, and of course, when you're going up in levels, punching power, of course, you're going to be able to land clean on the guy to be able to have that effect. When you've got such boxing skills like Lomachenko, that's what takes away that punching power. So you don't get caught with the silly shots that lower level opponents do get. So you've got to say it's an interesting fight. Lomachenko, huge favorite for me. Lomachenko. Sorry. Those are my thoughts, Phantom, on that fight. What do I think of Berbatov? Yeah, good fighter. Would like to see him versus Barrera now. That'd be a nice fight. Billy Joe Saunders versus Gennady Golovkin. I think this is an excellent fight. Excellent fight. And Billy Joe's got a good chance in this fight. Good chance. Because again, skills, styles make fights. I think that Billy Joe Saunders, British, Commonwealth, European, world. He's done it the right way. He's done everything all the right way. And I don't think there's a fight in Billy Joe Saunders' career that I could say, you know what? Nah, he definitely lost that fight. I think Billy Joe Saunders has done well. He's done within himself. I like Billy Joe. He's slippery, puts his punches together well. He's got good punch power. He dropped Andy Lee twice early. He's got good punch power. And he kept Lee honest. Good chin. And takes a good shot. Question marks about Billy Joe Saunders down the stretch. Those stamina issues. That's what I worry about him. I think if Gennady Golovkin's going to win the fight against Billy Joe Saunders, I think it would be down the stretch. I think Gennady's going to be hunting Billy Joe down. Billy Joe's nice sharp counters. Golovkin looks like a guy who can be outboxed. I mean, it's okay closing down a dummy. It's okay closing down a guy that's got no punch power and can't box and is slow on his feet and too scared to hit you back. It's okay to close them guys down. But when you close down a sharp counter puncher and you're getting caught, it's a different situation altogether. And I don't think Gennady's fought anyone in his career so far that he goes for them, bam, take that, and he walks on. He doesn't. He's nobody like that. So I think people writing of Billy Joe Saunders is wrong. I think Billy Joe Saunders would be his toughest fight of his career, and definitely Billy Joe Saunders' toughest fight of his career. I think that is a great fight, and I would not say, yeah, Gennady's going to steamroll him. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I think it's a great fight, and if Gennady Golovkin's going to win this fight, he goes down the stretch and he stops Saunders late. But he's going to have to get to Saunders' body, and he's going to have to get the work in early. If he doesn't get the work in early and allow Saunders to do what he does, but that's where it is. Saunders from round 6, 7 onwards. And remember, William Monroe, Willie Monroe, hashtag I fight better when you knock me down, Monroe. Yeah, him, that guy, who, when I was watching the fight, I was watching him throwing the jab, going, what the hell is that? You deserve to get knocked down. Jab, 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 boom, got down, said you deserve that. Because the jab was terrible. So I think then he got up and he started throwing punches at Golovkin. People said, you know, Golovkin wasn't well. He was ill. He was sick. And Gennady let him do that. Okay, fine. All right, fine. Because, you know, Gennady's that good. He just likes letting people hit him. Okay, fine. I don't buy into that. I think, you know, what can I say? What can I tell you? You know, I think Gennady's looked good against who he's fought. But again, he's never fought anybody as good as Billy Joe Saunders. Who, there's nobody that Gennady Golovkin's fought that I don't think Billy Joe Saunders could beat. Couldn't beat. It's like that. So, right, let's move back up here. Let's see what people are saying. I think Gennady Golovkin will unanimous decision him, or maybe late stoppage, leaning towards Gennady unanimous decision. Billy Joe Saunders causes problems. John Smith says that. Gazzo says, I think Brazil is too flat-footed, needs to work on movement and maybe shed some pounds. Not a natural fighter in my opinion. Hey, listen, Brazil was able to stand in the pocket and trade with Mansour, who's a huge puncher. I think Brazil's a good fighter. He's better than Gerald Washington. Let's put it this way. If Billy Joe Saunders can improve his stamina, in my opinion, unanimous decision Golovkin. Yep, I think it's a good fight. Billy Joe Saunders is very slippery. He is. I want to visit the Caribbean. What would you recommend? Grenada. It's quiet. It's beautiful. Good beaches. Very low crime rate. Yeah, Grenada. But from TNT, Trinidad and Tobago. Depends what you want. If you want to go Trinidad, then you've got the Great Carnival. You've got the sea, the sand, the beach. It's very much more Americanized, little America in Trinidad. So, but I would say Grenada. Let's see. YouTube says Golovkin respects Billy Joe Saunders a lot. John Smith, out of Kovalev and GGG, I'm more impressed with Kovalev. I agree. John Smith says, while Millie Monroe tagging him gave me alarm bells. I agree. Carl Smith, what the F? Michael, GGG won every round against Murray. And who the hell is Martin Murray? I'm sorry, everyone's rating Martin Murray. What has Martin Murray done? He's lost at world level. And Berbatov beats Ward. Really? Well, title to your opinion. Who has he beat? Berbatov. How do you spell his name? Who has he beat to make you think he beats Andre Ward? Like, who in his record? I'd like to see him versus Barrera, like I said before. Thoughts to you about Junior Future? Let's see what happens with Nick Blackwell. Praying and hoping that the stories I've heard about him being up now and he's well, is getting better. I hope those rumors are true. We'll see. Will he have the same instinct in him after the situation with Nick Blackwell? Would he be the same fighter? Who knows? Billy Joe Saunders has got the start upset. Gennady Golovkin. Billy is better than Murray, and look at Murray versus GGG. He beat Kovalev in a Russian street match. Right. Ward should fight Pascal. LOL. No, absolutely not. Pascal can't box. Pascal can't box. He's big, he's strong, and he's crude. Pascal can't box. At least with Cleverly and Bramer, those are guys that can box, and from Farah, those are guys who actually fundamentally can box and can punch a bit. And what you're fighting is someone Kovalev who can box and punch. That's why I said from Farah, Cleverly, and Bramer. And all three guys I mentioned there are experienced fighters. They're not like, 12 and 50 fight novices. They fought at world level. Redmond says Ward ain't fighting Crusher. I think Ward versus Gonzalez, Stevenson, or Fonfara. Okay, no problems. Great. Is there anything else I've got to mention as we come to the end of this show? I'm not going to go on too much for the show tonight. Ward wants 10 tune-ups. Hello. No, I don't think so. I don't think he wants 10 tune-ups. Are you not going to give Ward the credit for beating Sullivan Barrera? Now, there's some people who, regardless of who Ward fights and beats, they're never going to like him. Just admit, just say, look, I don't like Andre Ward. Just leave it as that. Just be one of those people who say, you know what, I don't like Andre Ward, and no matter what Andre Ward does, I'll never like him. Even if he beats Kovalev, moves up to heavyweight and beats up Deontay Wilder, I don't rate him. But the question is, like, there's some guys that I know in boxing, for example, will say, okay, so you don't like Ward, you don't like Mayweather, and you don't like what's the other guy's name? The Cuban guy, Rigondeaux. You don't like those guys. So tell me who you like. Yeah, Provodnikov, I like him. Yeah, and I like Brandon Rios. I like him. So like, these are guys who can't box, take a great shot, but just hit with thousands of punches. If you appreciate the sweet science, that's fine. Let's not get the sweet science and it's savagery. Oh, well, I don't see Ward going toe to toe because he's a skilled fighter. So just be honest, what you like. Ward is top 5 pound for pound. Absolutely. His fights are boring, but he's one of the best. Is the fights boring, or is he just that good a fighter? He just takes the fighter's best attributes away from him. Bernard Hopkins, another masterful boxer. James Toney, another. Ward's right hand shoulder is knackered. He's a one-handed fighter. He's not doing bad for a one-handed fighter. He's doing better than some two-handed fighters. He was landing rights on Smith, though, says John Smith. Mike Redman, I can land rights on Smith from here. Somebody said, Joe Gallagher said, Paul Smith's going to be right back in the mix. And somebody commented, yeah, right, pick and mix. I found that so funny. Yeah, maybe you didn't find that funny. I found it very funny. Mike Redman says, I can land rights on Smith from here. Paul Smith's a guy that gets a lot of hate. And Joe Gallagher. I'm not going to ask why. Good show, Ingram. Yeah, I agree. Ward gets hated for some disturbing reasons. Yeah, I've got a few reasons why Ward gets hate. Could Ward do a Jones versus a shorter heavyweight like Povetkin, for example? Wow. That's a good question. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Ward's got the speed, that speed, explosive power that Jones did. What happened to Ike? He was supposed to fight on Pac-Man's undercard. Ward makes his opposition look like shite. It's a good question. I'd love to know what happened with Ike. Actually, that's a fight I would love to see. Tyson Fury versus Ike Ikiobuchi. I love Ikiobuchi. He was my favorite heavyweight. Really was to present. Love that guy. Ward versus Chambers. Book it. LOL. That's a good fight, Ward versus Chambers. That's a good fight. Oh, am I watching that? What about Povetkin Wilder? Damn, Wilder's got a fight on his hands. Go back to the amateur days and how he got knocked out by a guy much smaller than himself. Povetkin lands. I don't know. I don't know. But Povetkin's been dropped and he's been hurt by Klitschko. But you've seen the long right hand of Wilder. Spilka was able to take it. It was a short right hand when Spilka was tired. That's the one that actually hurt and knocked out Spilka. I think Povetkin's the best boxer, puncher that Wilder's fought. But I don't think Wilder's the best opponent that Povetkin's fought, if you get what I mean there. I've got some people are charging room now. Wow. Phantom says, I like the Barrera fight. I thought it was boring. I never thought it was boring. Okay, yeah, I liked it as well. It's just good to see Ward back. You think Cotto fights Kirkland? Kind of a silly fight, right? I think Cotto should fight Andy Lee. Don't ask me why, but I just think Cotto should fight Andy Lee. Ward was getting tagged from Barrera. Crusher will banjo Ward. I think Ward will fight differently against Barrera because I think Barrera, maybe Ward thought he could absorb what Barrera could throw. Maybe he won't take the same chances against Crusher. You know, Ward is a he can change his style so much. So I don't think we should judge the Barrera fight on how Ward will fight against Kovalev, because that would be a big mistake. Ward ain't no RJJ. He certainly isn't. I think Povetkin irons Ward out. LOL. Povetkin irons out Wilder too, says Gazzo. Well, he might do. Marco Hucker cruiserweight hurt Povetkin. Yes, that is my point right there. John Smith says he can't box like Klitschko, but he can lean on him. Yes, that's a point for Winter Wilder. John Smith. John, are you any related to? Are you any relation to the Smith family? Yeah, John, are you related to the Smith family? Oh, I think if he was related to the Smith family, there's no way he'd be on my podcast on my show today. So definitely not. Michael Redmond says Svilka never seen the KO shot from Wilder. That was the problem. Alex Woody says I like Cotto Lee. I'll be at 157. It'll be at 157 or something. I'd like to see that fight. I heard Lee's fighting Jacobs. That's what I heard. Danny Jacobs. Don't know how true that is. I like Wall's skills, but he's a pretentious twat. That's what I don't like. No, just a random YouTube name. Now you're sending me warning bells now. John Smith, that's not your name. Starting to worry me now, John Smith. Let me think. Larry says, don't be so dismissive of Murray. Give him some credit for reaching where he has. Boxing is a hard life, and although he hasn't been successful in his title attempts, I think the only one who was totally outclassed in. I think the only one he was totally outclassed in was the Gennady Golovkin fight. Well, I've said this about 1,000 times about Martin Murray. I said he had a different trainer, he'd be world champion. He would have been middleweight world champion. We'll leave it as that. He should have left his trainer a long time ago. I think knocking your head against a brick wall, expecting the brick wall to crack, is insanity. And I think Martin Murray, expecting his trainer to help him become world champion and improve, is insanity. He needs to get rid of that trainer. So I've given Martin Murray credit. But I said he'd never be Arthur Abraham with that trainer. Go back and watch the tape, the prediction of Murray versus Arthur Abraham deal on this channel. Check it out. Smith's not my surname, John's. John's my first name. Okay, John, thank you. Anything to say about Broner's future short term? Laughable. I don't know. Broner. I don't know about him, because I think sometimes there are things that happen behind the scenes that make a person look like an enemy. And yeah, he does some really stupid things, Broner. He really does. But I think he knew he was always going to move to 147. And I think he knew that when he was getting on scale. I think he knew he was going to move to 147. He just didn't want to pay the sanction fees. That's what I think. So that's that. In terms of his future, I don't know what his future is. Does he get banged up? Probably. I don't know. But I don't know about Broner. He's such a talented fighter. But you give talent in the hands of a fool, that's what happens. Smith's Nana is the fourth best fight in family. You choose it, haha. I've heard rumors Eubank wants to defend his British title versus Ryder. Yeah, that'll probably happen. Is Martin versus Groves happening? Don't know, don't care. But in the sense that I did a story on that as well on YouTube. Broner needs a brain donor, maybe. Algieri versus Spence. Algieri has been severely underrated. This is the Algieri that rocked Adamek. This is the Algieri that that gave Adamek a good fight. I think Spence is a little different. I'd like to see. Let's see what Spence does against Algieri. But Algieri's not a puncher. Let's get it right. He's not a real puncher. And Spence is a puncher. If Spence is a real puncher, Algieri got dropped 6 times by Pacquiao. So we'll learn more about Spence in this fight. Murray's trainer is a glorified towel boy. Towel boy. You said it, not me. Broner looked very emotional after that fight, unless he's a good actor. I think hype. This sounds odd, but I'm kind of glad he beat Theophane. I've never been a fan of Ashley Theophane. No, just never. He left UK. You were an average fighter. You went to America. You're still an average fighter. You fought on Friday night and got your ass whooped. You're still an average fighter, and you're retiring average fighter. That's it. Your thoughts on Luis Ortiz on being overrated? He's as good as the guys he's fought so far. He's beat them. I just want to see him in there with Povetkin, with a Stiverne, with a Joseph Parker. You know, fight one of those guys. You know, even a Mansour. I can punch. Who might have seen that? Even Ike. Bring Ike back. Ike versus Ortiz. I'd love to see that. But you know, he's definitely got skills, Ortiz, no doubt about it. But Tyson joked about him being 36 and all the rest of it. I think Ortiz is a good fighter. But Tyson did say he wasn't even the #1 Cuban selected for the Olympics or anything. He's always ranked. He was already 3rd or 4th. So Tyson says if he was that good as a Cuban, you would have heard something more about Ortiz. So Tyson's got a valid point there. Ortiz is the man. That's all. I know Michael Redmond loves Ortiz. So Thompson's was old as hell. And how good is Jennings really? Yeah, I think Jennings is a good fighter. I don't know how much he prepared for that fight, and I'm trying to get an interview to find out more about his preparations. I think Ortiz is overrated in the pros. Beat Thompson and Jennings. That's all. Needs to step up. Ortiz would KO Mansour. I'd still like to see it. Great show. Keep up the good work. Take care. Keep it easy. Take it easy, bro. Nice one, Phantom. Chambers versus Ortiz would be a good fight. Love to see that. I think he's too small for the big guys too. No, that's crap. Absolute crap. Go look at Chambers and all the big guys Chambers fought in his career. I don't agree with that. I think Chambers is big enough. So what was Mike Tyson? 5'11"? Not good enough. Not big enough. What was Evander Holyfield? 6'2". Come on, talk to me. What was Lauren Brewster? What was? I mean, come on, man. What was Michael Mora? I don't believe in this. If you're good enough, you're big enough. At heavyweight, that's it. Done. Ortiz KOs everyone. He had both Jennings and Thompson in the first round. He wanted rounds, obviously. Maybe his 300 amateur fights were fabricated, says John Smith. Not Chambers, Ortiz, LOL. He's not big enough. Povetkin, who a lot of people think is going to beat Wilder. Well, I think he's got the punching power and the boxing ability to do it. It's whether he does do it is another matter altogether. I want to know what happens when Wilder's in Russia. That's what I want to know. Ortiz is big. Wait a minute. Wasn't Price picked ahead of Fury for the Olympics? He was. He was 6'4". Yeah, he was. Yeah, and he got his ass whooped in the World Championship by Stiverne. 340 and 14, I think, Ortiz amateur record. That's what Tyson said. Hi all, sorry I'm late. Mark Smith. John Smith, now Mark Smith. Mark and John, are you related? Do you think Wilder will fail drug test if he beats Povetkin? Probably. Thompson looked way bigger than Ortiz. Possibly. Ortiz 6'4" and has longer reach than Wilder, so yeah. Okay, I think we're going to come to the end of this. There's a lot of Smiths, man. Yeah. Thompson 6'5". John Smith, no. Okay, I think that's it for me. It's I said I was going to finish at 7:30. Finished at 8 o'clock. No, I'm the only Smith, says Mark Smith. Right. Sorry, coming to the end of the show now, Mark. You haven't missed much. You just probably missed an hour and a half. You can always replay it at the end. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this show. Really appreciate it. As I always say, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, share the videos, and just for those who are tuning in, yeah, I've gone over time. Our videos are going viral at the moment. It's about bloody time. So it's good. The video of the Tyson Fury interview, I think it's like 30. Last time I looked, it was about a couple of hours ago. There's 30,000 views, and we had 1,000 people watching it at that time. Check out the Ali Bashir interview. If you want a good laugh, listen to that. Bashir is in rare form on that. For those who are just tuning in again, Joe Washington versus Eddie Chambers, April 30th. Book it. I'll be trying to talk to Eddie later on. He's probably at church at the moment, the big fight. No joke, I think Eddie is a church man, so he's probably at church when I try to ring him. So I'll try and catch him this evening, try and get some news on that. That's it from me. Thanks for tuning in. Boxing enthusiast, good show, he says. Thank you very much. Mike Redmond, thank you so much. And on a parting note, I will say this. It's never good to bite the hand that feeds you. I'll leave it as that. Adios. Have a good evening. Have a great week. Take care.